evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Monday night Q&A with RavenHawk Coins Seeker, Rob Finds Treasure, and our very special guest, Santee from the Arizona Ghostriders.
What's up?
Thanks for having me, guys.
Good to have you, my friend. Good to have you. Let's start off with everybody's warm welcome. Seeker, what you got to tell to the crowd today, my friend?
Not much, man. Crazy day. I'm sure you guys saw me putting the order in for the new Morgans that came out today, and it was absolutely cringeworthy, insane. I did my best to share the experience with you guys, and it was 20 minutes to order those things. It just shouldn't have been that way. But you know what? It's over. Actually, the video took me like 4 hours to edit, so I guess that one was worse.
Why did it take so long to order them? Is that common?
No, it's a huge release from the U.S. Mint with a lower mintage than should be in existence, and so everyone's on the website trying to get them all at the same time. And unlike places like Amazon, the U.S. government doesn't have enough money to run a proper website.
That's awesome. Rob Finds Treasure, my brother Rob. What you got going on? What you got to say?
You know what? I had a similar experience to Seeker. The only problem is my cringeworthy experience ended with the absence of a processed order. And in a nutshell, it's ridiculous. I had my alarm set. I was in my room ready to go. I got a call regarding my vehicle from the collision place, the ones handling my claim. And wouldn't you know it, I got involved in that conversation about parts they could and couldn't get, new totals, new things, newfound problems. And I don't know what happened, but I just misplaced my mind. And I hung up the phone at 11:09 Central Time. And about another 2 minutes later, ran back upstairs. I remembered it. And I could not finalize an order to get my Morgans. So cringeworthy as it was, I only spent 9 minutes in frustration with no ending that was happy, if you will.
I feel you, man. I feel you. I had the same frustrations I've had the last couple times on the U.S. Mint, and that is getting locked out of the website. I'm honestly done with them. I'm going to go to my other sources. I've got some really reliable people in my circles, such as Silver Seeker and Rob when he finds cool stuff, if I ever have to, But yeah, it was really beyond frustrating. But guys, the man of the hour, Santee, please let the ladies and gentlemen in the crowd that may have never seen you before know a little bit about yourself and say hello.
Well, hey everybody. My name's Santee, and I run a YouTube channel called the Arizona Ghostriders. And we are not silver collectors or silver sellers like you all you fine folks. However, somehow, when I first got started, I met up with RavenHawk, and it's been like 6 years, hasn't it? I've known you for like 6 years.
Even been a long time.
Different channels. I've known you for 6 years, and I bought a few things from you. So I have learned so much from all you guys. Everybody that's live streaming right now, and everybody who's on the chat. I've learned a lot about silver and coins, and it's a pleasure to be on here. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Dude, glad to have you, man, for sure.
Heck yeah. Matter of fact, for those of you that don't know or might not already seen, every video I have has an Arizona Ghostriders sticker in the background because I'm a huge fan of Santee.
Wow.
Santee and his group do a lot of really cool things. Matter of fact, I saw a recent video that they put out where they're helping save a filming town in Arizona. And I'm sorry that I forgot to write down the name of it, but that's definitely something I wanted you to talk about because I think that is awesome. And, I'm just really kind of like a fanboy right now. I'm like, yay, we got Santee.
The town is Mescal. So some of you who don't know, my channel is about Old West history and the people nowadays who relive Old West history. So reenactors and living historians and people who do movies. And thankfully, I got my toe in about all of those little things, so it's been a lot of fun. And there's a Old West set out here called Mescal out in Benson, Arizona, where they filmed the movie Tombstone, which some of you may know. They filmed the entire movie Tombstone there. Well, not the entire movie, most of the movie. Like every Tombstone part was filmed there. And it goes all the way back to movies like Frank Sinatra and Dirty Dingus McGee. I just needed to say that. It's a funny word. The original Monty Walsh with Jack Palance. Young Riders, the TV show, The Outlaw Josie Wales with Clint Eastwood. And unfortunately, the set has fallen apart because it was never built as anything but just a temporary set. So a bunch of guys went and bought it, and they're trying to fix it up. That's really what the Mescal is about. And it's great because the buildings are in disrepair, but a lot of them are still standing, so they just need to be shored up and repainted, and maybe the boardwalk's redone. So it's pretty cool. It's hopefully that there'll be some more Westerns filming out here, and that would be an excellent thing for Arizona and for America, I think.
Santee, I watched a lot of the videos, and I remember, and I could be wrong, maybe it's a different site, but if I recall, not only are they restoring it for possibly future productions, but also for tours. So people that wanted to go see that and stand on those dirt roads and walk those boards, they could do that maybe down the road, right?
Right, Rob. They're already doing that to a certain extent because some of the boardwalks are okay. They're giving tours. That's one of the thing. I think that's one of the ways they're going to try to make money is selling pieces of the old set to people who want a piece of where Josie Wales stood, Clint Eastwood stood, or get something framed up. But yeah, tours are going to be a big thing there. Right now, every boardwalk's got a family of rattlesnakes living under it, so they got to fix that before they give too many tours.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, real quick, I just want to do a shout out to Richard Sappington and Jason Goldman Shots for the super chats. Thank you very much. And to Miss Coin Crew for becoming a new member of the Raven Nation. Thank you.
Raven Nation. I love it.
Yeah, we the membership thing is awesome. There's a lot of great people out there that support us. A lot of awesome people in the chat tonight. Santee, you said Tombstone was filmed in the Mescal set, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One of my absolute favorite movies, and I know that you have you had some stuff to do with being a part of that, and also the recent anniversary. So what exactly have you been, your involvement with Tombstone, if you don't mind?
Well, I mean, I guess you probably, one of the things I can tell you guys, and you probably already know this, is that Tombstone was a major mining town, and it had a silver rush back in the 1800s. So, and I'm sure you all know and have seen the movie Tombstone, but they didn't really play on the silver in the movie at all, although Wyatt Earp had a mine and so many people did. But yeah, the entire movie couldn't be filmed in the real town of Tombstone because the whole place is, although it's got a lot of historic buildings, there's a lot of touristy stuff, and it would just take too much effort to cover it up. So they basically made Mescal look like the original town of Tombstone in 1881, and they did a really good job with it, and it really does look a lot like it. All the buildings at Mescal you can go into, and they filmed a lot of interiors there as well. So nice. It's really cool. It's a really neat place. I've done a few things there, and in the video I made a joke about it, but I really did fall through the boardwalk 3 or 4 times the last time I was there. So I thought, please fix this place up.
Wow.
Jason Goldman's Shot, one of the subscribers on the channel, did say, though, they could still open it for tourism even with the rattlesnakes. They just have to walk everyone faster so they could turn the crowd quicker.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and free snake bite kits to everybody who purchases, a piece of wood from the set.
Yeah.
There you go. That'd be awesome. The movie Tombstone was just an iconic movie. I love that movie, and I think I've probably watched that no less than 20 times. It's one of those classics that. If they ever do a remake, I hope they have some really, really great actors. They don't just throw a bunch of schmucks up there, because that would do a disservice to it for sure.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that was filmed out there besides Tombstone?
Tombstone, Monty Walsh, Gunsmoke, Bonanza.
What about Rifleman?
There's so many. If you watch the video, you'll see I put a list up. I'm trying to think.
You put a list at the end of the video.
Young Riders.
Like 90 movies. It's like literally 90 movies.
Well, there was a show, The Rifleman, that I really liked when I was growing up. I was just wondering if that. I don't know
The
where it was
Rifleman
filmed.
was not filmed at Mescal.
Okay.
There's a place not too far from Phoenix that unfortunately burned down many years ago that I got a chance to perform at, thankfully, because it's such a cool place. It was called Apache Land, and Rifleman was filmed in Apache Land.
Oh.
And after it burned down, they were able to save the Rifleman's barn and relocate it to a museum. So you can go to this museum called the Dutchman Museum, the Lost Dutchman Museum, which you may have heard of, Lost Dutchman Mine. And you can see the Rifleman's barn there. So, yeah,
Gotcha.
Just to tie all that together, it was also filmed in Arizona, even though it took place in New Mexico.
Gotcha. Okay. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah,
didn't even know where it was filmed. Yeah. That's cool.
And, you know, there's in Northern California, there's a town that was very famous for filming Westerns. A little town in the mountains. Oh, man.
Is it Bodie? Or
It's like
Westerns.
Oh man, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on it because it's one of the same things. It's one of those towns that's just out in the middle of nothing. I mean, it took us like 7.5 hours driving from San Diego and going north. And, you know, we went there and stayed there, went and walked around the ghost town and stuff. You know, they have still the old sets are there and, you know, the buildings and whatnot.
That's pretty cool.
It starts with an A. And I don't know why I can't.
Blank. For some reason, the only thing I can think of right now is Spawn Ranch, where Manson stayed, but that's gone. So I can't think of a. Do you guys?
It's killing me. Oh well.
But it'll hit you. It'll hit you.
It'll come.
There's quite a few. A couple of them burned down recently due to the fires up in California last year, but or the year before.
And that's one of those ones that could have been burned down because where it was at is up in the mountains up in Northern California. I think it was like not Albany. Oh well, I'm drawing a blank, guys. What do you do?
You move on and don't worry about it. It'll come to you at the end of the stream, probably.
Right.
Probably.
Sure.
So we got a $10 super chat from Keith of Coin Crew. He said, "Who on the panel got the Morgans from the U.S. Mint?"
I did get my confirmation email, so I think I'm okay. Like until I have them, I'm not keeping my hopes up until they're actually in my hand. But I think they are on the way.
That's 5 months from now.
I know. You know. People pointed out in the comments, and actually, to be honest with you, I did notice it when I was recording it as well. The Mint had on their website something about them being available June 19th. And I'm sure that was probably just a error or something.
That was a copy and paste of a previous deal, probably.
Probably. But it did say that. It was very interesting.
Was there two? I'm sorry. I thought there was two separate release dates.
Well, no. So I don't have them right in my head. But like the O and the CC, you can pre-order today. And then next week you can order other ones, and then the week after that you can order the last 3. I don't remember which ones are next week and which ones are the third week. June 13th, Coin Crew said. No, do we know why that June 13th was on there? Like Rob said, it was probably just some sort of copy and paste. But it would be very interesting if they did start shipping those in June instead of all the way in October. That'd be really, really cool. I think that is when the window of the... so Richard says he thinks that's when the window of the pre-sale closes. No, the window of the pre-sale closes about 20 minutes after it opens.
Yeah.
Raven, you didn't get me?
No. I wasn't able to get it from the website. It was frustrating as heck. And like I said, I think I'm just done with the U.S. Mint. It's been multiple times that I've tried to get a coin that's come out lately, including recently was a gold coin that I had in my cart. And I was paying for it, and all of a sudden the site froze and kicked me out. And and it's one of those things where it was like I wasn't really looking to flip the stuff. I wanted to keep it, you know. But I will. I'll be getting my hands on.
It's like getting a COVID vaccination. Guys, real quick, does the Morgan that they re-released, is it the same stamp that they had before, or is it a different makeup?
So there's a lot of problems with it. I'm not super happy about it as well. I still ordered it, and I'll still try and order the other ones. But the biggest problem I have with it is old Morgan and Peace Stellars are 90% silver, and these are not. They made them pure, which I wasn't really a fan of. it almost makes you wish they would have waited just a couple of more years to start making all of the commemoratives out of pure silver, because it used to be 90% for everything up until 19. But the other thing is, like the O and the CC, because the New Orleans and the Carson City Mint are closed, they are privy marks instead of mint marks, whereas the S and the D will be actual mint marks. So, I don't even know which mint they produced. I didn't even look. I don't even know which mint they actually produced the O and the CC privies in, but they're not actual mint marks. So there's a lot of differences. Outside of that, it's the same diameter, same design. It was recreated dies because those dies are all gone. But, I mean, if you look at the 1921 Morgan, that was actually a recreated die as well, so whatever. But we'll see. I'm not a huge fan, but at the same time, I still got them because, because I still want them because,
Right. No, I understand. Yeah, I would want one too.
So, Philadelphia, I'm being told. Okay, so they're making them in Philadelphia. Thank you, Michael. I actually didn't know the answer to that. Michael Gringo, BDS 101, Bryce Podol, they all had the answer for me. I actually didn't know. I never even thought about it. I didn't care. I was just like, I know it's not actually Carson City and New Orleans, so whatever.
When did the Carson City Mint close?
18...
Okay.
Yeah, 1870 something.
No, it was way after that.
Later.
It was 1890 something. I bet you Michael Kittle's going to give us the answer. It was 1890 something.
No.
Yeah, Michael Kittle's going to have the answer for us.
Why did they close? There's not enough.
Well, the CC, the Carson City Mint actually opened up to help with the. They discovered a huge silver vein out there, and so the Carson City Mint actually opened to help produce coinage from that silver vein. And so
okay.
when it started lightening up, when they didn't need it anymore, they closed it right back up. It wasn't open very long. In fact, it was actually open twice. It was open and then closed, and then opened and closed again before it was finally out.
At that point, was anything still coming out of the Comstock load, or any silver coming out of that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. 1899. So yeah, Roadrunner and Coin Crew had it 1890. I knew it was 1890 something. I just didn't remember if it was like 98 or 99, which date that was.
Here's a good question for Santee. What would have been the most commonly used coin in the West at the Saloon?
I would probably say probably the silver dollar. The Morgan silver dollar would have been the most common. Because, first of all, you could have bought yourself, you most likely would have bought yourself a round of drinks. I don't think you would have bought just one drink. And popular belief is that a shot of whiskey cost 25 cents, which was the same cost as a bullet, which is not actually true. And they thought that the word shot came from a bullet. It didn't. It actually goes further back, way further back to somewhere in Europe in the 1700s. But I think the cost of whiskey was a lot less back then. But you throw down $1, you probably get a bunch of change back, and you can spend that and go buy a steak dinner later on. So,
Yep.
I want to answer really quick. Patrick Stevens, he said that was the Comstock load. I know the question was he asked were they still producing or were they still processing the silver from the Comstock load when it closed? Right. I actually don't know.
That was the Comstock load?
Yes, but I don't know if they were still doing that when they closed.
I'm sure they were. Sure. I think that went into the 1900s, but that's cool.
I mean, I know my history. I know my history with that, like, how it is, like, vaguely. Like, I know roughly it was closed late 1890s, for example, but I couldn't give you exact dates and exact when this and exact when, you know what I mean?
That's okay. You're doing great. I mean, I'm learning a lot, so thanks. I have a question here about Old West bank robberies.
Yep.
They were after the gold and the silver.
Yeah,
they were after the gold and the silver. Paper money back then was still kind of iffy. There's a lot of banks back then in the early 1800s. As you guys know this, a lot of banks back then were privately owned, and there wasn't a lot of federal money out there, so they didn't trust there's a fly in here. They didn't trust the paper money, but gold and silver, just like today, you guys know, just like today, gold and silver are the kings. People would always take that.
Absolutely.
So,
and unfortunately, people won't always take that anymore. They should, but they won't.
Why they don't?
Well, I mean, people like me and you do, but I mean, you can't use a quarter at a gas station yet. At least not where I live.
Kind of silly to throw down a gold coin to buy gas. That would.
Gold or silver. I mean, a silver quarter would be great for a gallon or two of gas, but no one takes it. At this point, you have to convert it back into fiat and then spend the fiat, which is, it shouldn't be that way, but it is.
Have you guys ever tried to do that? Pay with a silver coin and try to convince the person it's worth more than.
I've considered. I always tell myself if I ever win the lottery, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take a one of the 5-ounce silver quarters and attempt to spend it. And if they do accept it, let them have it. But I need a little bit more money than what I have today to be able to do something like that and feel good about it on the way home. You know what I'm saying?
Seeker, you're funny, man. That's awesome. So, you know what? Canadian Ryan here says Santee recently did a video on currency in the Old West, which I loved the video, by the way.
Thank you, RavenHawk.
Santee kicks butt on these. Do you got a lot of Old West currency yourself, Santee?
I wouldn't say a lot. I have like I showed in the video and other videos, I have a little, what they would call a poke back then, which is basically a coin purse. And I have a bunch of coins in there. People who are really into the antique would probably cringe at the fact that I've got them all stacked in there and rattling around in the bag. But they're all older coins that are not in great shape because that's all I could afford. So most of them are pretty worn out, but you can still see the dates on them, and you can still make out all the details for the most part. So I do. I think I'm up to probably about $5 in coins in there right now. Yeah.
Hey,
Space. That's
now,
not
of course,
bad.
nowadays it's a lot more than $5, but back then $5 was a whole week's pay for some people.
heck yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
For a cowboy, that was a week's pay. For a blacksmith, that was probably half a week's pay. So yeah, you could buy a lot with that.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons I really enjoyed the video you did way back when you talked about the value of coinage and whatnot in the 1800s. We got a question from Nagy Silver and a $2 super chat. Says, Santee, do you have any mustache maintenance tips?
Let it grow. Just let it grow and just keep combing it, and don't wear a mask. Masks ruin the mustache. Trust me. For like a whole 2 weeks, I had to train this thing to go back down. It was standing up like some sort of British colonel in the army. It was sticking up in the air.
How apparent is it that I have a daughter? When I heard you say "let it grow," all I heard was "let it go."
Yeah, right.
Don't get my phone taken.
Frozen.
That's funny. We got one from Richard Sappington. He says, Santee, I've been collecting old documents, envelopes, bonds, personal letters from the Central California area. It is a very cool snapshot into that time period. Do you collect anything like that yourself?
I do, but I haven't been able to get my hands on a lot of really great things. I've got a couple of tax documents here and there, which, God, they're just boring. They're boring. I would love to have like a silver bond or something like that, or a gold bond or something. I see them, but they're usually out of my price range. So one of these days.
Nice.
You guys have anything? I'm sure you do.
I have some old canceled checks I bought at an estate sale one time, and they're not by anyone famous, but they were wartime, and there were some personal wartime letters from people at war writing their loved ones that came with it. So I have stuff like that, but it's not like I have it framed or out looking at it a lot, but I do have a box of those types of things, which I do cherish to know that I have.
That's really cool.
I do not actually have anything like that. I'll be honest. I don't.
Yeah. But that's okay. You get the coins, and that's important.
Hey, coins have stories. I mean, the thing is old letters and stuff actually tell the story. The coins, you wish you could hear their story, man. Could you imagine if like an old Morgan silver dollar could talk? Oh my God, it'd be insane,
wouldn't it? Just the amount of history.
I would just sit and listen all day. I wouldn't do anything. I'd just sit and listen.
Your first question about which was the most common coin that would have been used in a saloon. I'm gonna stick with my Morgan one because that seems to be, I don't know how many, you guys would know this. I don't know how many were actually made, how many were actually minted back then, but they're not hard to find. They're never hard to find.
No, it depends on the year in a mint, but I mean most year in mint marks were over millions. I mean, there were some low mintage like the 93S and things like that, but generally there were a million or more of the majority of them.
Yeah, so I think they were probably the most common that you would have found in in general use.
Nice. There was one I saw here in a second ago. Oh, gaming balls. Not to take away from the Morgan hype, but did you and you guys grab the Type 2 ASE as well?
I didn't order any. I haven't ordered any Type 2 ASEs yet, but I plan on it. I'm not as worried about the Type 2 ASE as I was about the Morgans though. So I will be getting some though. No sweat that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
go
I was
ahead.
just going to say I'm not a big fan of the design, but when I see it in my hand, that may change. So I kind of want to. I kind of want to hold it and just see. I don't know. We'll see when I get them.
Yeah, my hesitation has just been the premiums on it right now. I want to see if it goes down just a little before I, get a couple. But I'll definitely get the Type 2. It's hard to be a coin collector and stacker and not have at least one of most of everything you can get your hands on.
Right.
That's just in the nature of the beast. And I saw another question for Santee. Iron Jim number 7 says, Santee, do you metal detect for relics at all?
I have a really cheapo metal detector that somebody gave me, and I went out to a ghost town not too long ago, and I didn't realize there was so much iron ore out there because it was a mining town. So I basically just threw it in the back of the truck and said, screw this. It's not working out. I couldn't find. So you found more just putting your hand in the sand and pulling stuff up. So.
Well, we all laugh because we've all experienced that. You
guys have metal detectors too?
Oh yeah. I've had the same things happen. You go out and deet, deet, deet. Nail, deet, deet, deet. Bottle cap, beep, beep, beep. Aluminum can. It's you got to be pretty picky. I say of where you go. But there's some nice spots. Like Rob lives in Texas and Seeker lives in Missouri. Those two states have some pretty good areas for doing metal detecting, though.
I'm probably the least experienced of us three in metal detecting, but I have done it before. It's been a while, though. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I bet a lot of it is just finding the right homestead or the right place. I think in Missouri you're going to probably find a lot more Civil War activity there, and in Texas, you guys got a lot down there.
Well, where I'm at in Texas, it's recent history. There was really nothing here for the last 150 years except for Native Americans. If you go south of me 6 hours, that's where the hot spots start. So if I want to take a 6-hour road trip, obviously, then I would be able to hit the hot spots. But where I'm at, there's no history prior to 1980 really at all.
Huh.
I mean, the town I live in was founded in 1879, but it had 1,500 people in 1879, and it had 3,000 people in 1989. So there's just no money lost. It was just farmland, and so it wasn't until the area boomed in the early 90s that population rose, and it's all transplants with new money and new people. So it's a little different where I'm at.
Yeah. And what region of Texas is that again? I missed it.
30 minutes north of Dallas.
Okay.
I'm actually an hour from I'm almost as close to Oklahoma as I am to Dallas.
So there was okay. So there was some post Civil War guerrilla activity in that area. People like Bell Star and that whole bunch of people, they were running, but they weren't robbing things in that area. They were robbing things around that area.
Yeah.
And they were going back to that area. So
maybe there's a hidden cache somewhere that I could find.
What's that?
Maybe there's a hidden cache somewhere that I could find.
Yeah, I doubt it. But keep looking.
Yeah. You'd have better luck in Arizona finding it.
Man, I tell you, the big thing out here, as you guys probably know, is the Lost Dutchman mine. I mentioned it before. And that's up in the Superstitions up north of where I live, near Phoenix. Everybody's looking for Jacob Waltz's treasure and has been for 140 years or so. But I don't know. I mean, it's very dangerous up there. If you go up there in the summer, you're probably going to die. So I don't think very many people have much luck with it.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's supposed to be gold, and I don't think there's much gold up there. I think it's mostly silver and copper. So anyway.
Hey, copper's good right now.
Is copper good right now?
Yeah.
Copper's really good right now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Why do we think copper's good? What makes
it's
copper?
It's been moving.
Well, just the
Really?
price is way high from where it normally is. It's like what, 4.5 now?
Oh,
Is that
wow.
right? Per pound? That's crazy for copper.
Do you guys deal with copper very much?
Rob does, I don't.
I do. I've been stacking it for years.
Much of a copper guy?
Yeah, I do keep copper. I've got jars full of copper pennies, and but after a while you start amassing so much copper that it's like, what the heck, because in the States you can't melt it, because it's illegal. But if it ever changes to where they allow us to, man, you're gonna see a lot of people that have copper coming out of the woodworks.
I don't know if it's a big deal there. Down here, it's a big deal for construction sites. They have to put security guards out because homeless guys will go in and rob and steal copper.
Oh yeah,
and then go take it to recycling places and get money for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Think about
you
it.
guys have that problem too.
Let's say you take someone's copper engine out of whatever, or a copper-based engine, and it weighs 40 pounds, and it's $4 a pound. I mean, you just made $160. Of course, you got to carry a 40-pound engine to make the $160, but why not?
Wow. Jeez.
Huh.
I remember the city. It's called Aberdeen in California.
Aberdeen. I was going to say I saw one called Antelope Junction or something. But Aberdeen? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we got Zerix Coins in AU. Says, Santee, what do you think about Wickenburg, Arizona? I live here and I absolutely love it.
I've been to Wickenburg on the way to go to places like Prescott. It's really a pretty area. I'd really like to go in and look at it. The cool thing, this is kind of weird in an Old West way, but Wickenburg, back in the territorial days, didn't actually have a jail. And a lot of towns didn't have jails, but Wickenburg had a tree. And they would chain the prisoners to the tree outside, give them food and water and whatever, but they still have that tree, right? I mean, you people in Wickenburg know that they still have that tree up there, and they actually have a little mannequin out there, shackled to it with prison garb on. It's kind of neat town, very big cowboy town up there in the mountains, kind of.
Right.
You gave me a flashback, Santee, of my trip to Salem, Massachusetts, where I could see the tree that's still there, today, that they used to hang the Salem witch trials from. And they actually painted all the sidewalks yellow so that you can either self-tour and you can see some of the houses that still stand, where they actually would parade the townspeople in front of the house, grab the woman accused of witchery, and then take her to that area and where all the burials are. It's crazy. But you gave me a flashback when you said the tree, and it just made me remember that.
Did you happen to see my ex-wife on the list there?
Yeah. Did I happen to see her? No.
Oh, okay. Thought I'd ask.
You kept a deadpan face the whole time, too. Ridiculous.
Oh, dear.
So Nicolette's Hobby said people have been missing looking for the gold in Superstition Mountains.
Yeah, I have been. It seems like every year somebody goes missing, and then they find their sad, dehydrated bodies a few months later. Yeah, I don't know if any of you have ever been out to Arizona, and Rob probably knows from being from Texas. The heat out here is pretty oppressive, but it's kind of like if you open an oven door and you've got it on a really low temperature. You know that feeling of that dry heat that comes out? That's what you get out here in the middle of summer. And if you go out and you don't have water, you're not going to make it. I think what happens is these guys just don't take enough water. They don't plan well enough.
Yeah, they don't really realize what the desert's truly like.
Yeah.
I lived in Phoenix in Arizona and Glendale as a kid, and I played sports. You played your sports at night because they weren't going to have kids running around in 100 and something degree heat
right
in the deck, because you could not. I remember being a kid and be mad because you'd be inside. You go outside for 5 minutes, your face would be red, Arizona, but you know what? Arizona has a nightlife like nowhere else. It's a really cool place at night.
Yeah.
Are you saying that 1 16-ounce bottle of water is not enough out there?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if you sip it.
Maybe. I doubt even if you sip it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does. It hits you in a way that's like, whew,
I think
you know.
I think you can agree with me. The what happens out here, and this is what I learned when I moved out here, is that unlike places like Missouri or some parts of Texas or Florida where I was raised, it's hot because you're sweating. In Arizona, you're sweating, but you don't know you're sweating because it's kind of evaporating as it's coming out of your body. So you don't really know you're losing water. And the next thing you know, you're starting to get a little bit fuzzy, and then you get a little dizzy, and it's only been like a half an hour and you need water, and you're already dehydrated at that point. It's a real scary thing. But anyway.
Yeah.
No, it sounds scary.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You're literally being roasted.
Right. You know.
I do.
Did you guys go out there and play soccer, or what were you playing? Soccer, football, what?
I was playing football and baseball.
Football and baseball? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you go like when the sun was setting, or did you go right at night?
Right before the sun was setting, we'd get out there and kind of start warming up, and but you would only have maybe 10 minutes of sunlight before the lights were coming on and stuff. They really wanted us close to at night as possible.
Yeah.
And even sometimes at night it was too hot. There was times we'd come to practice and coaches say, look, guys, it's just a little too hot for you, even though we said we want to still play,
Right.
Thanks for the $2 super sticker, Thug Stacking. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Vegas Battleborn, too, for the info on Ellie, Nevada?
Yeah,
Ellie, Nevada?
I want to definitely check that out sometime.
Wow.
Ride the train that was hidden to prevent from being scrapped. Huh. Interesting.
What happened?
Oh, I was reading that comment you had pinned.
Yeah, that's pretty
what he was just talking about.
Yeah.
Nothing against Arizonians, but I will keep my humidity.
Okay.
Hey, Prescott, though, you were talking about Prescott, beautiful area. Sedona's beautiful.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, Sedona is one of the most calming areas I've ever been to. There's definitely something going on there. Did we lose?
Well, it's funny. I've been up to Sedona a lot. They've got these red rock mountains, and they're just gorgeous. And the whole town is. I understand that they've got some sort of ordinance that if you build a business there, that you have to sort of paint it in the same theme that everybody else is, which is that red Sedona rock color. But they have these vortexes there, and I don't know whether you believe in vortexes or not, but apparently they're areas of energy where the Earth's energy comes out. Bear with me, guys. And my wife and I went up there, and all these people were up there raising their hands in the air and feeling the vortex. And I looked at my wife and I said, "Do you feel the energy?" And she said, I got to pee. And I said, "Yeah, me too." So we left, and we didn't feel the energy in Sedona, but it is a beautiful, amazing place. So
I would love to be out there with Santee. We're all standing there. People are like, "Oh, you gotta go pee." Yeah, me too.
I wanted a steak, and she had to pee, so we left. So we didn't experience the vortex, as it were. So
that's awesome. Michael and Lord Zachary Burnett, thanks, Seeker, Rob, and Raven, for these amazing chats, and welcome to the show, Arizona Ghostriders Santee. Shout out, Coin Crew Nation. Very cool. Good people here.
Thank you.
Oh man, that was great. I always love a good laugh. Ringing constitutional. Can you feel it?
Yeah.
Oh man. Sorry, I've just been enjoying the conversation. I haven't had too much to talk about tonight.
I don't mean any disrespect for those of you who believe in the energy of the earth coming out of a rock or whatever. That's not my thing, and maybe I wasn't open to it.
Hey, you have to believe that you feel the energy.
You're
right.
A closed off little shell.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Bodie is known as the city that population just got up and left. Things are still where they left them. Any spots like that in Arizona during a Route 66 trip next month?
Well, you know what? Somebody else mentioned a couple of times here the Vulture Mine north of Phoenix. And the Vulture Mine, I've never been there personally, but from what I understand, the buildings are still standing from where they were, and you can go into them. Apparently the places are really haunted, but I think it'd still be kind of a neat place to go visit. The furniture's still in the buildings, and there's a schoolhouse and all sorts of neat things. So Vulture Mine, yeah, that's what I would say.
That would be a paid trip there, Santee? Do you know?
I assume so. Yeah. That was a silver mine, incidentally, and I think I have some silver from the Vulture mine, a little bullion, little 1 ounce bullion thing.
Nice.
Kind of neat.
Party Pickle, it's Mint-E-Mike, and he was actually in today's video. Like, literally, he was in today's video. So, today, you can expect another appearance.
That's it. I'm getting a face filter. You watch. I've got an answer to something down the road.
Hey, Minty Mike's
it's going to go all about. It's going to be all about copper stacking. You'll laugh. Watch.
Okay.
All right. Just remember, I said copper stacking C. All right. Many old treasures around eastern New Mexico are from Spain, Civil War, and Indian War settlers still there. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff in New Mexico. And, if you can get out and look around. Matter of fact, another state that has a lot of great stuff, and I saw Keith mention it, was Missouri. Jesse James hang out there, and they're still looking for his treasures. So, you'd be amazed with what's out there.
I don't know. Maybe Silver Seeker knows a little bit better than I do, but I don't really think that he would have buried his treasure. I think he would have spent his money.
I don't know. I mean, I think there's probably something out there. I don't think he died so young. I don't think he spent it all. So who knows? It's a good story though. I have been through the Merrimack Caverns quite a few times though. It's a hell of a story every time you go in. It's just a lot of fun. If you're ever in the area, you should definitely check them out.
What region in Missouri do you live?
I live about 30 minutes south of St. Louis ish.
Okay.
So
all right.
I'm not too far from the Merrimack Caverns, about 45 minutes to an hour or so.
Okay.
So
is Cape Girardeau east of you then?
Cape Girardeau is south.
South of you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to say something really quick. I've seen a couple of things in the chat, and guys, if we don't see your question, it's not because we're ignoring it. Like Muscle Shell, we're not ignoring your question. We have a lot to talk about, and we're taking other questions at the same time. So, like we say, every one of these guys, if we don't get to your question, don't take it personally. We will try to get to it. That being said, Muscle Shell, I did see your question, and I have no idea who knew Taco Stacks first, but I've been subscribed to him for a couple of years.
Yeah, me too.
I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea. I've been subbed to him for a couple of years now. I don't know exactly when, and I don't think Rob does either. So it'd be really hard to compare sizes there, if you will.
Wouldn't be that difficult, but on that subject, yes.
That's messed up.
Yeah, and I don't see all the questions. There's a lot going on trying to manage the panel as well as try to look over. Best thing is to just re-answer the question. And it's unfortunate that we don't get to answer everything,
Right. But we try.
Also, you got a guy that's on a different kind of channel on today, so you're missing all those coin ones just to talk about Old West history. I apologize for that.
No, don't. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm really enjoying this, and I think the majority of people that are here are as well. Like, it doesn't always have to be about coins. It's just as long as it's an interesting conversation, which I'm enjoying the heck out of it. So have at it.
Good.
Have at it.
Good.
We talk about coins all the time.
Well, and I think most people that enjoy coins like history, and your channel is centered around that, and hearing some of the history associated with the times where the coins that we collect were being used is
right.
Good stuff to hear.
Yeah. So we see somebody talking about buried treasure. It's interesting. There's every state, it seems, has their own buried treasure stories, and Arizona has them too. But I've read stories about, we were talking about Jesse James. I've read stories about outlaws from the Hash Knife Outfit. Hash Knife Outfit was a ranch up in northern Arizona, up where they had a big Tonto Basin War up in that area. And the Hash Knife were kind of a sketchy crew. They were made up of outlaws, and although they worked in a legitimate ranch, they were bad guys. Anyway, they would go down to Mexico, and they would raid ranches and stuff in Mexico and bring the spoils back to Arizona. Apparently, this one guy who wasn't so smart took too much. He couldn't carry it all. So he had to bury it because the federales were after him. And so he buried it somewhere on the border of Mexico and Arizona. And that's one of the big ones. People are always searching for it. Unfortunately, they never could ask him where it was because they shot him and killed him. And so then they found out that he didn't have any of the gold or silver on him. I think it was silver, actually. I don't think it was any gold. I think it was all silver coins. But one of those fascinating stories. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's the dream find if you can find a way to find it. But again, out there with a metal detector and a shovel in 120-degree dry heat, probably not the funnest way to spend your time combing 400 miles of borderline.
Right. No, it's ridiculous. Yeah. And you've got to figure that it's probably already been found.
Yeah.
Because there are some people out, treasure hunters out there that are very smart and don't tell the authorities when they find it. But did you guys remember a few years ago that couple was walking on their property and they found a stash of coins?
Yeah.
And
wasn't it like buried by a tree stump or something?
Yeah.
It was a tree stump
property, but they took it into town, and apparently the I don't remember if it was a coin person or what, but they said you've got basically millions of dollars worth of really nice coins here, and basically told the government. Now the government wanted some of their money because they wanted their money, even though it was on their land. So
it was on their land. If I recall, the story recites the Gold Act of '33 when it was recommissioned back, and they said, "Hey, this is more than $100 on your possession. Therefore, we could have reclaimed it." But from what I understand, they only had to pay a certain percentage to the government. But once again, our gold, our land, we found it. It's mine, and here's your piece. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well,
and who knows what that percentage was?
The government's really good at thinking they own everything. So
yeah.
Hey guys, so why did the mint pick silver to make old coinage out of? Was it not a valuable relative at the time? Yes, they used gold and silver because of its value. That that's what the original currency and our banking system was based on, was a gold standard. And yeah, so that's why they would use silver and gold. That's my best answer for you.
I mean, if you look at the price of inflation since, what was it, the Federal Reserve was created in, I think, 1913.
Yes.
You
the
look
first
at
Federal Reserve dollar in 1914.
If you look at the price of the dollar and the inflation amount annually from even 1650 all the way until 1913, it's almost flat. And as soon as the Federal Reserve was created, we had a jump. And then in 33, when FDR said, give us back the gold, and then 34, gold jumped up. If you look at that, and then finally when silver was taken out of coinage in 64, if you look at the inflation chart, there's three major events. There's the Federal Reserve Bank being created. There's the recommission of gold in 33, the Gold Act. And then when coinage was no longer silver in 64, that's three big ticks outside of any war. Of course, war drives inflation up temporarily. But outside of that, it's the Reserve Bank, the Federal Reserve is what's destroyed the gold standard and silver standard out there big time. My 10 cents.
That's thank you for the history. That's great.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder why silver was actually, I mean, you probably know, why in 64 did they say no more silver for coins?
It finally went up in value to the point where it was not efficient to mint it.
Okay, makes sense.
I mean, but it's a business. They're not going to put out a product that loses them money.
Right.
We've been doing it for years on some ways, but they make it up on the other denominations. Like the penny and the nickel still loses them money, but they make tons on the dime and the quarter, so they're okay with it.
Really? Okay, I heard that about the penny, even though it's zinc covered with copper?
Well, it's 95% zinc, but it still costs them more than a penny to mint it. So
does it? Oh, wow. That's funny.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep, and the nickel costs more than the nickel as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
But the dime costs like 2 cents and the quarter costs like 8. So they're making it all back on those.
Wow.
And so Santee, we got a question from Ty Hitman. Have you ever done any videos about the hole in the wall?
No, I have done stuff on where I've touched on Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and his gang, but I haven't done one specifically yet on the Hole in the Wall gang. But I plan to. They're pretty fascinating. They were really smart. They were really smart. Probably the smartest of the outlaws, maybe even smarter than Jesse James, in the sense that Butch Cassidy knew that they were going to actually be followed by posses. So he had stationed all the way to Hole in the Wall, which was their hideout. He had stationed horses along the way so that they would always have fresh horses so that they could outrun the posses. So yeah, I think that's really interesting stuff. I can't wait to get into it.
That's insanely so. That's slick.
Yeah, I know, right? That's smart thinking.
Heck yeah, I get a fresh horse every 4 hours or so. Nobody's gonna catch you.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
The only question is when the posse came up to the old worn out horses and the guy holding them.
What did they get?
You're under arrest. You're under arrest.
Aiding and abetting. Get over here.
Yeah, right.
Well, back then, I watch. Have you seen the Hateful Eight?
Oh yeah. That's a rough movie, but a good one.
It is, but it puts the reality of some of the things, like Samuel Jackson's like, hey, I don't take them in, I shoot them all and don't care because it says wanted dead or alive. That's crazy how our justice system has changed that drastically in that short a period of time, where it went from bounty hunters could just kill you and bring you in and it didn't matter, versus now, you get sued if they get a stubbed toe on the way to court.
Right. Well, also we have a lot more law, and we have a lot more entitlement and all sorts of great things that they didn't really have in the Old West. I think in the Old West, people just wanted to be rid of these bad guys. In Texas over there with Rob, they had the most famous gunfighter, probably the most famous, John Wesley Hardin. And John Selman came up behind him and shot him in the back of the head in 1895. And they acquitted John Selman because he said, oh, well, I was in danger of my life. He had a gun. He shot him from behind. He went in and assassinated him. But I think they were just like, look, we're done with these bad guys. Just it's okay. You killed him. You're not going to go to jail.
And by the way, one of the best gunslingers ever probably is you are in danger even if his back is turned to you, just so you know.
Right. And Wild Bill Hickok and Jesse James, nobody wanted to face those guys because they were.
I'm your Huckleberry. I'm your Huckleberry.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
That was the best. Doc takes him out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just funning. I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's
Poor
awesome.
Old Johnny Ringo.
Johnny Ringo. Oh, John, looks like Johnny's got an education. I'm sure. I don't like him. All right, I think he says I hate him. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I really hate him.
Great movie, man. So Richard Sappington had a funny one. So I'm to understand that Young Guns is not a documentary. Oh man. Young Guns is an interesting story too, about the cattle wars and stuff going on, and how people would be deputized by one person and then be deputized by somebody else. They'd be having these battles, and then later it's like, who's the real outlaw now, because each side's done really heinous stuff to one another. The Wild West, it'd be pretty cool if you had a time machine to be able to go back and hang out for a couple days. What you guys are all
thinking is the first thing I'd do is go to a bank and get as many Morgan silver dollars and
of course.
Eagles.
Yeah.
I'd get
CCs like this.
Yeah, a whole stack of double Eagles, which would cost you, only a couple $100, which you could probably pull out of your debit machine, but yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Oh man,
Seeker would have a gold-plated pony.
I'd set up camp outside the Carson City Mint, but I would go to San Francisco in '93 just for a little bit.
You know what? You know how we occasionally get Spanish silver, and I'm sure in those casinos in Arizona back in the day, saloons back in the day, they probably had a lot of Spanish reals floating around too.
Yeah, I think someone just asked a question about that too.
I wonder how many Morgan dollars are sitting in wherever in Mexico as well that have never been found here in the U.S. or turned in because they're just sitting in collections. And I don't mean collections like someone's coin collection. I mean just in people's possessions of old wealth from back in the day that they brought the money down there and it just never came back.
Oh yeah, because there were Mexican outlaws raiding southern ranches too. Mm-hmm. I mean that's how the OK Corral. Okay, here I go. The Clans and McGlories, which were the cowboys in the movie Tombstone, they were the bad guys. Old Man Clanton was killed by a bunch of Mexican ranchers, I believe, or federales. I'm not 100% sure on that. Anyway, because they just kept going back and forth and raiding each other. So, yeah, that there were definitely Mexican or Morgan silver dollars down there. But I think too back then too, I don't think it mattered so much whether it was a Spanish reale or if it was a Morgan silver dollar. I think the silver was the king.
Yep.
You could put a nugget down on the ground and say, well, that's what it is, and it's an ounce of silver, and they'd be like, okay, the little melted thing of silver would probably work just as well.
There just wasn't a big numismatic attention to detail until the 30s. I mean, obviously, you could argue that,
Correct.
in 2009, when they changed the design of the cent and did this, I mean, there were some people that were keen to it, but coin collecting and numismatics didn't really take off until the 30s.
Right,
So,
and I think that you would probably see that starting out east and then gravitating to the west because the west was still very wild at that point. As much as many people think, oh, no, it was over by 1899. No, Arizona and New Mexico weren't states until 1912. So, I mean, there was a lot of wildness going out here, and I still think a lot of that bullion was the king. So that's and no, I haven't done a video on Bass Reeves yet, but I will.
Nice. Duke Frazier says, I love how Westerns show bags of gold in flour sacks and they carry them around like they're nothing.
Who let Duke Frazier in here? Can I just ask? Somebody who let him in here?
Somebody blocked that guy.
Yeah.
Hey, Patrick Stevens had a coin question or statement / question. Annex gives detail. Coins a numeric grade. Why doesn't PCGS or NGC? Annex also gives an MS designation. Should this practice protect those wanting to have coins graded?
I don't. No, you're fine. I don't agree with having a numeric grade on a details coin. If it's been cleaned, how do you give it a number grade? Like, how do you do that? That being said, there are NGC certified uncirculated details coins, so they do designate uncirculated details, but they're not going to tell you if it's 60 or 63 or whatever. They're just going to say uncirculated details, XF details, and then details is just saying, hey, here's the details. So like details clean or details, whiz or details damaged or details rimding. You know what I mean? That's what details means. It's just pointing out that there's a detail to look for in the coin. But no, I don't agree with a number grade on a slab coin.
I'm right there with you for the same reasons. How can you really put that kind of same value on something that's been damaged or cleaned? We all know that it just basically, once it's cleaned, you're looking at like half the value of what you would have gotten.
Can you elaborate on how you can tell if something's been cleaned? Do you mean like polished?
Well, polish you can tell straight out, but the biggest thing about cleaning is that usually, especially with silver coins, it strips the original luster. And so if you look at enough coins, you can tell when the luster is original and when it's been dipped. That being said, there is no guarantee. There are definitely clean coins that still get slabbed and, no problem holders. It happens, I'm sure, all the time. So it's not a perfect science, but there's a lot of stuff.
There's coins that have not been cleaned that have been slabbed as clean because they had an amateur's eyes on them as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Interesting.
So coin grading is far from a perfect science. At best, it's an educated opinion. Just some people are much more educated than others. So
I'm assuming that when you guys watch the treasure hunting sites and some guy picks up a coin that's all covered in dirt and starts rubbing it, you probably cringe, right?
Yeah.
Silver and gold.
Yeah, you when you get stuff like that, you generally just want to rinse it off with water. You can even let it sit in water if it'll help loosen up the dirt, but you don't want to start rubbing it with your fingers because that's just don't do that.
Yeah,
don't do that.
You get the telltale abrasions and stuff that take the luster away. Right. Crafty Dragon said, Santee, the big cattle ranchers were more dangerous than the average outlaw, yes or no?
Yeah, they were. They're very territorial. I mean, they had everything to lose. Well, so did outlaws, but one outlaw against a bunch of cowboys, I don't think the outlaw is going to do too well.
Right.
Yeah.
Fat Poe's giving me crap because I found it toned. In my opinion, and I've had a lot of coins graded, an MS65 plus or better Kennedy silver half dollar, but it has a fantastic rainbow toning, which they'll probably give questionable color because I'd get top pop if it got the grade it should get. So they'll probably give me questionable color like they do to me because I'm not a big time seller of coins. But he's giving me crap, of course, because he knows my history on beautifully toned old coins.
Some Indians come back as undetermined color. I have an Indian that literally that's part red, and it came back no problems. Like, it's actually one of my favorite coins. The thing's gorgeous. But my point is, you just never know. Like, even artificial tones, sometimes you can tell all day, and then sometimes you just don't know. And, like, yeah, Muscle Show's right. It's all subjective. Now, granted, go ahead.
I was going to say, do you guys take yours to a professional to have them graded?
Well, you don't take them to them. You send them to them, unless you're at a coin show where they're doing live submissions on the floor. But
I see. Okay.
Generally, it's something you send. So there's PCGS, which is out in California, and NGC, which is out in Florida. And then there's other coin grading companies like the one that was brought up earlier, Annex. And then, of course, after that, you have like ICG. Well, that's when you really get into the mom and pop grading services, in my opinion. But it's really NGC and PCGS are the two that should only be worried about.
Raven, you don't deal too much with the grading of things, right? You're more interested in whether or not things are silver or not, correct?
It depends. Depends on the coin, to be honest.
Okay.
But I've actually taken some coins that weren't really that valuable and had them slabbed on purpose, just because I want to preserve it in its grade, in its condition. But for the most part, I like finding stuff, in the raw and dealing with stuff in the raw.
Okay.
It's a little bit easier in some ways to negotiate prices. Once you have it slabbed and it has a set, MS66 versus MS65, you could be talking thousands and thousands of dollars from that one digit of difference in grading. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob concurs with that, huh?
Well, and Santee, I'm not a big fan of coins being slabbed, because once they're slabbed, I can't hold them. And I like the weight of silver. And I don't mean I'm not going to wear gloves holding a valuable coin. I'll do that. But I mean, at the end of the day, once it's slabbed, you lose some of the fun of the coin. But if I see a valuable variety or something that was a mint heir, or I see a very low mintage date in high exceptional quality, I do want to preserve it just for the coin itself, so I will slab some.
So
that's not questionable color. Are you kidding me?
That's what I'm saying. Look at that.
That's not question. I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that penny, though. That is awesome.
It is gorgeous, isn't it? Look at that.
Yeah.
That was done with somebody's hard-boiled eggs in a jar.
It's pretty, though. MS64 brown. Look at that. That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
I've had better experiences with PCGS than I have NGC.
That was PCGS.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. I've had better experiences with PCGS. NGC is really frustrated me on a couple coins where, this was, questionable color or things like that, cleaned, when I was like, come on, that's not a clean coin. But okay. It is all subjective.
I just like how Rob said, I'm done.
I have submitted 10 mint state red Indian head cents in my time, and 9 of them came back either cleaned, whizzed, or questionable color, and I couldn't tell that they were that. And I'm 1 for 10. And I see that one, and I'm like, I would have never even submitted that.
What does it roughly cost to get that done?
Now they've raised their prices, but let's say today it's $38. But if I've got a mint state red Indian head cent that is not graded, it's in the eye of the beholder, like Raven said. It might be a $100 coin, but if I spend $38 to get it graded, it comes out being an MS66 red. All of a sudden, it's worth $3,000. It was $30 well spent.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I understand that. Yeah, wow, that's amazing. You guys have a really interesting hobby. I mean, I don't know if I'd call it a hobby. It sounds like a second job.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy this. So.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your guys' passion. It's
Definitely.
awesome.
Guys, this was a lot of fun, and I could talk forever. We're past our normal hour. So, we definitely want to let everybody say their goodbyes and farewells. Mr. Seeker, what you got to say?
Not much, man. Just don't forget, we haven't even talked about recording the podcast yet, but just in case, we plan on recording it afterwards. We'll probably have it up on the website on Friday. And it's gotten a lot of hits this last week or two. Like, a lot of people have been listening, so thank you for that. Hoping to keep it growing.
Yeah,
so appreciate it. And other than that, guys, just thank you so much, as always, for hanging out with us. I think we're on Rob's channel in 2 weeks, right?
Yes, sir.
We're already back on my channel in 2 weeks?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, because we were with Coin Crew on my channel 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So, cool.
And so, Mr. Rob finds treasure. What do you got to say to the folks? What you got?
No, not much. I just, you know what? I enjoyed creeping all over Arizona Ghostriders page today, and I had to catch up. I hadn't been on your page. I think I caught like 2 of your videos like a year ago. And honestly, you know, you get lost in the shuffle of everything you're doing. And I must have watched literally an hour and a half worth of videos and had a good time. So
I'm
just
so
want to
sorry.
remind everyone, I enjoyed it a lot. If you're
I'll give you your money back.
kind of a history buff, check out his channel, watch some of the recent stuff, especially the Ghost Town stuff. I enjoyed that. And I liked all the skits and fun and things that you guys did. So thanks for being here, brother. And I enjoyed your content for sure.
Thank you. Thanks.
Mr. Santee, what you got to say to the people, my friend?
Oh man, I tell you, I didn't know what I was getting into tonight. So I learned so much from you guys. So thank you so much, and thanks for letting me share a little bit of the Old West history with you. I don't seem to have a shortage of that information, so I appreciate you having me on, and thank you so much, and thanks for keeping the history alive, guys.
Heck
Absolutely.
yeah. I had a great time both as knowing Santee for quite a while now and being a big fan of the show, and you know I always tease him a little bit and throw weird phrases at him like potato chip and you know, but a really great guest. And anytime you want to come back, Santee, and you want to bring anybody with you, you'd be more than welcome. The reason I picked Santee was to have a little bit of a break from the norm. I know some people might have been like, wait, this isn't all about coins, but Santee does have a currency video and coin video as well. So please make sure you check them out. And we'll see you guys in the very, very near future.
Peace.
Thanks a lot.
Peace.
RavenHawk Coins. Have a great day. All right, guys. Give me one.